What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Gakis, and today we have the no BS practical guide to leveling within Destiny 2: The Edge of Fate, showcasing what the top players in the world are actually doing to level as fast as possible. And so, let's get started. Now, what do I mean by cutting out the BS? Well, if you go into the portal, you can see a very robust bonus loot system. You can improve your bonus drops by going into the seasonal hub and doing your daily challenge. None of that matters, bro. You don't touch Fireteam Ops, you don't touch Crucible, and you don't touch Pinnacle Ops. You go into Solo Ops and you choose one of two different options, either Caldera or K1, depending on the enemy. And then, when you've found the most optimal choice, you're gonna do what the Destiny 2 community has called clocking in for your shift in the mines, because you're gonna be farming that solo op activity until your eyes bleed. Seriously, you're just doing that solo op again and again and again. Oh, that doesn't sound fun. You're not here for fun, gamer. You're here for leveling as fast as possible. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about, going over a ton of tips to make this solo ops grinding so efficient. First of all, the choice between K1 or Caldera. You want to pick K1 if the enemies are Hive, and you want to pick Caldera if the enemies are Fallen. And these rotate on opposite days. So one day it's going to be K1 is the best, the next day Caldera, the day after that K1, and it just goes back and forth. Now, regardless of which one you're doing, your score matters a lot, so let's talk about it. You want to achieve an A tier rating. Oh, but B only gives one light less. When you're doing 500 runs in a row, one light matters a ton, gamer. So, you definitely want to achieve an A, but you actually don't need to have the projected loot saying an A. If you get to about halfway through a B+, that is good enough. The way we're going to showcase how to play these solo ops, if you get, again, halfway through that B+ projected rating, it will always upgrade to a full A by the end of the run, guys. So, what modifiers should you use to reach this rating? Well, that's going to vary drastically depending on your level and difficulty. So, I made my final push to 400 last night, which means I'm in the 300s. Let's say I'm 360 power. I can select between Master difficulty, that's 300, or Grandmaster, that's 400. If I pick Grandmaster, I'm at a light level disadvantage, and generally, I'm gonna easily get a projected A tier rating. Like if you're picking the next big difficulty up, it's pretty easy to get that projected A or B+. But if I'm picking, Master still, I don't want to play at a light level disadvantage, I have to put on a ton of modifiers in order to get that projected B+ rating. I might even need to put on stuff like Battlefield Promotion that gives +20 in terms of extra level to the enemies. So yeah, Battlefield Promotion, Grounded, stuff like that. As well as difficult elemental threats, you may need to be using multiple things that give +20 levels to the enemies to get up to that higher rating. Now, a lot of people use stuff that affect your loadouts. So, locked loadout is like a must, but also people will turn on no HUD or no starting ammo. That actually won't increase the level disparity between you and the enemies. So, it could actually lead to an easier run, but also you're playing with no HUD and having no starting ammo, so it's kind of up to you and your build whether or not you want to do that stuff. Those might be what you need to use to achieve these ratings, and if that's the case, if you're putting on like a +20 grounded mod and a singe and this and that, it might be time to actually go to the next step in difficulty, because that's probably going to be easier even though you're at a light level disadvantage, because you don't have to put on all those mods. Now, as for the modifiers I like to use, Banes are a really easy way to juice up your score. On top of that, Subtle Foes is a pretty free one. The unit-specific mods aren't really that bad, as are the threats, especially the base threats, pretty darn easy. And if you see Battlefield Promotion, that's like a free one, to be honest. A lot of this is going to be down to personal preference and what is best for your build. If you're running a melee build, don't put on stuff that makes enemies explode and stuff like that, right? Like, that makes sense, right? Now, moving on from there, guys, we get to the most important part of power leveling, and it's the thing that most people get wrong. It's how you're supposed to play these solo ops activities. For example, guys, above master difficulty, you'll have champions. I haven't killed a champion in over 100 power levels. That's right. You are going to be ignoring every ad you can and speedrunning the objectives, getting to the boss as quickly as possible. So let's showcase how that's done. First of all, with Caldera. This is what is most optimal today, the time I'm recording this, because it is fallen. So you're going to want to have an eager edge sword equipped because you're going to be using it to just make you go faster. It's very, very helpful in covering distance. You're going to start out your Caldera run and you're going to look around. There are 3 different depots you need to sabotage. And then underneath that, you're going to get an optional objective. Guys, for this to work, you have to do the optional objective. It's gonna be random. So sometimes it's 15 ability kills. Well, if I'm using my infinite melee titan, oh my goodness, that's easy to get. Sometimes it's just overall kills. That one usually isn't too bad. Sometimes it's precision kills, honestly the most annoying one, but it'll rotate between basically those and also there's weapon kills, and so you'll have to do that while you're doing that main objective. So you're going from depot to depot, getting weapon kills or ability kills or precision kills, what have you guys. Now, you can save part of this bonus objective for later. There's also going to be ads that spawn on the way to the boss and at the boss fight, and that's true for both Caldera and K1. So let's say you have weapon kills, 45 weapon kills, you get 35 done. You don't need to like spend a bunch of extra time hunting down every single ad that's not near your actual objective. Just get out of there, go to the boss and get the last 10 kills at the ads where the boss is, right? So when you're doing Caldera, the one modifier I would highly recommend is subtle foes. And the reason is because when you're activating these depots, the explosive shank that you spawn will actually be invisible. So that means you can just activate the depot and go to the next one, go to the next one. Just get out of there, get that objective done as quickly as possible. Again, obviously, getting kills along the way for that bonus objective. Now, once you activate them, you absolutely run past everything and head to the boss. A couple of tips here. You'll often find heavy ammo and special ammo crates along the way. And this is true for both Caldera and K1. You don't have to spend a ton of time searching for them, but, sometimes aim down sights with your high zoom weapons and it will reveal them, and it's actually kind of nice to grab heavy, especially so you can just sword swing with eager edge everywhere and get everywhere quicker. Now, when you're heading towards the boss, if you don't have sword ammo, a quick tip here, you can actually go into Matter Spark and then come back out immediately, and that will actually give you amplified so you can run faster, as you can see. Additionally, if you've done the objective when you get out of this tunnel right here, you can jump down into this hole, you'll die, and you actually respawn right at the boss. Now, only do this if you're not carrying forward buffs and stuff. I'm doing it for the video, but if I am running this build with Banner of War, I don't want to do that because I want to keep my Banner of War up, but that is a possible skip you can do. Then, once you get to the bosses, nuke one as fast as possible and then the other one. Sometimes they stand close together. Sometimes if you don't do as much damage as you can, they'll start to run apart and teleport. The bosses are honestly super annoying, but the rest of the solo ops mission is so fast that as long as you can kill these bosses in a kind of normal amount of time, it is really going to be efficient. Now, to kill these bosses, you can see, again, like with Bastion plus one of my melees makes them reach the cap using a super that you can easily, merc one and then go to the next one is another great idea. Flechette Storm can absolutely nuke them if they're standing close together and you can transition from one to the next. Having a special weapon that does a ton of damage here that can nuke them down. There's a lot of different options depending on your class, depending on your build, but you do absolutely want to bring whatever you need to bring to do enough damage to reach the threshold of this boss before it shields up and you got to go to the other one, guys. But that is Caldera. Overall, this is just such an easy one to farm. The depots are full of ads, easy to get that bonus objective done, but the ads are usually not that intense. Again, if you have a quick objective like ability kills that you can get done fast, if you have subtle foes, you are just planting, and getting right to the boss very, very quick. The annoying part is the boss itself. Again, if you get a weird teleport, and again, their behavior is like random. Sometimes they stay together, sometimes they go apart. It's annoying, but that's Caldera. Let's move to K1, guys. So the key to K1 is the Mint Retrograde. Doesn't matter if it's the crappiest roll you have ever seen, put on a Mint Retrograde. Why? Well, when you start K1, and again, you're doing K1 when it's Hive, the objective is always going to be 4, and these are going to be random locations, but it's 4 satellites that are just encased with Hive crusties, whatever they are, Hive boogers, and you got to get them boogers off of it. So if you're using a normal gun, it takes forever to shoot all the Hive crust off. But with the Mint Retrograde, as you can see in the background gameplay, with literally one burst, by sweeping your reticle up, you will use those explosive rounds to completely destroy all of the crust on these objectives. And so with 4 shots, essentially 4 bursts, 4 ammo from your Mint Retrograde, you are completely done with this outside section. You can just use your Eager Edge Sword and absolutely fly inside so quickly. And as you can see, when I have the bonus objective being ability kills, I know for a fact I can easily get ability kills while I am inside this complex. So again, I am just doing the objectives outside and then skipping every single ad to get inside, because again, there's actually a significant amount of ads inside I can use to get that bonus objective done. Then when you are inside, again, you're just farming the exact amount of ads and doing the exact thing you need to get that bonus objective done. As soon as it's done, skip everything and head towards the boss. Again, often there is those ammo crates, so that's why you see me sometimes like aiming down sights with my choir of 1 exotic special auto rifle. That's right, I am running double special here, and I can kind of more easily see the crates from a bit further away if I aim down sights. So grab the nearby crates, head to the boss, and then you can see, I just nuke the boss as quickly as possible. The shield goes up. Then you want to get out of sight. There's a way to cheese the shield. I'll talk about that in a sec. But you want to get out of sight line as quickly as possible. Hide behind a wall, something. If the boss doesn't see you, it will spawn that actual objective that you need to shoot and damage the boss from quicker. So again, you go into the light, you lower the shield, you nuke the boss some more, guys. I have Thunder Crash to do a ton of damage, and then the shield's gonna go back up, get out of sight again. They're going to quickly spawn the next objective, shoot it, nuke the boss, you are done. The quickest I did here last night while streaming, while talking to chat was, I think it was like 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So again, that's not, you can do way faster, but I'm saying me, while streaming, while talking to chat, 2 minutes and 45 seconds, this is why solo ops is so much better than anything else. No Star-Crossed is going to be done, quicker than around 10, maybe 8 minutes with the best team in the world. That's still, I'm earning more loot more often from solo ops, guys. Like, that's why it is so darn efficient. So, if that sounds fast, apparently the Titan Solar Super, the hammers, the sunspots it cause just go straight through the shield without having to spawn that objective and stand in the light. So you can just nuke this boss even faster and do sub 2 minute runs. Absolutely crazy, guys. Now, before we end the video, I have a few more incredibly important tips that will help you on your journey, because that's your journey. Just clocking into the solo ops mines and farming K1 or Caldera over and over and over again as fast as possible, right? But sometimes you will notice that you just get unlucky. You can't get a certain piece to drop, right? Like, you can't get a helmet, it's lagging behind, everything else is getting upgraded. And so what you can actually do specifically for the helmet is go into the collections tab, into the flare tab, and in miscellaneous, actually withdraw a Halloween mask. That is going to drop of light. So again, if your helmet is lagging behind, it's like 5 power below everything else, you can withdraw Halloween Mask, and usually you get like a 5 power bump in that case. Now, you can't use the Halloween Mask to infuse your gear, but it tricks the game into thinking you have a higher power level helmet, and then you're going to start getting even higher drops because of that. Now, that same process and logic can be used with other things, guys. In your rewards pass, if you have weapons or armor in that rewards pass, it drops pretty much of light. So you can use that stuff to level up. Like, you can't get legs, you just can't get them to drop. Go into your rewards pass and grab the legs from there, and you'll usually get a power level boost, guys. Same thing goes with the requisitions from Zavala, right? Where you go to Zavala, and if you've done your seasonal hub stuff, or you've leveled up your seasonal hub, you can pick out requisitions, you can choose what you get, and that usually has a big power level boost. Make sure you're waiting to use those until like near the end of the week before they rotate, obviously, but you're using it on something that's lagging behind. Like, you just need that last piece to get to the next big milestone, to get to 300, to get to 400. That's when you go and grab it from Zavala and get exactly what you need, guys. And the final way to get that gear piece that's lagging behind is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, playing something other than K1 or Caldera. I know, blasphemy, but seriously, I did this last night, just getting to a 400, because when you get to 400, your gear score stops. Like, you're not going to get above 400 unless it's Pinnacle. We'll talk about that in a second here, guys. But I just had like a 398 sword. I just couldn't get a heavy to drop. Instead of farming Caldera over and over and over and over again, I just hopped into the match-made Fireteam Ops and did a mission that had a guaranteed sword if I achieved an A. So, you know, I just did that. I got my sword. I got what I needed. That's probably faster than just relying on RNG with solo ops, guys. So, that is how you get to 400 light as efficiently as possible. What about the journey from 400 to 450? Well, if you're not familiar with this, here's how it works. You are no longer going to get upgrades after every run. You actually have to get a prime drop for it to give you a +1 light bonus. That has a 5% roughly chance of dropping, which means on average, you will have to do 20 runs of Solo Ops K1, for example, before you get a +1 power reward, before you get a 401 reward. In fact, if you're not 400 yet, you've kind of already experienced this system, because from the grind from 300 to 400, some of you guys watching may be in that right now, you randomly get tier 4s, just rarely. And if you're going from 200 to 300, you might randomly get a tier 3. Those are your primes. They drop 1 tier higher than what you're used to. And so when you're 400 to 450, you now get consistent tier 4s, and then your primes will be tier 5, and they're the +1s. So how often you randomly get tier 4s if you're above 300? Yeah, that's how often you'll get a +1 bonus for one piece of gear when you're going from 400 to 450. Now, importantly, if you go to your clan, make sure you're in a clan that actually has this upgrade that will actually influence how many primes you get, because that is going to matter in the long run. A couple more important things though, guys. When you are in that 400 to 450 power grind, apparently your score doesn't matter anymore, because again, it's just a random prime drop, and those will always be that +1 power regardless of what score you just got. So in that case, people are just ignoring the bonus objective completely, and they're just heading straight for the boss. They're still grinding solo ops. All of that is exactly the same, dude. But they're just completely ignoring their score bonus. They're just doing it as fast as physically possible to get that prime engram drop. Another tip is you can save your conquest runs for when you reach 400, or at least, you know, the final two guys. As you can see right here, I saved my 490 power conquest until after I got to 400, and my drops were 403. So that saved me, you know, dozens of hours of grinding to get that much 403 gear, right? Like, that is actually a big boost. And the final conquest as well, you can save it until you get to 447 power, and so all the drops are exactly 450. It gives you exactly what you need. Because those conquests are, again, going to give you like +3 power no matter if you're in this crazy 400 to 450 power band where you're only getting +1s from everything else. And so, guys, there you have it. How to level up as fast as possible in Destiny 2. Oh my goodness. Guys, that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.